Yes, 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. A log jam at 7-7 with a number of different teams. An important week for us as we have one at home, one on the road, and we need to try to find a way to stop the bleeding.
Our first question is from Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Hey, Bob.
Speaking of that log jam, have you ever seen a seven-way tie, for anything anywhere?
I have never seen it. Typically, if you look back every year, I know last year we were in a situation where we were able to win our last two regular season games and to get to the tie for second, I believe it was, and we got the 3 seed, where we got the double bye in the tournament. It all really was dependent upon 3 or 4 different teams and playing that last day. And when obviously Florida has separated themselves at the top, but everything else is still obviously up for grabs as it relates to how teams play down the stretch.
Yeah, how crazy is that to see a seven-way tie? What do you think that says, and how big would it be to get that double bye?
Well, we were a beneficiary of that last year. We got the double bye, and we were able to go and cut down the nets. And it's really big if you have aspirations. And if you remember, Bob, we go into the tournament needing probably to get to the finals to give ourselves a chance at large, and thankfully we took it one step further. But it really plays a huge part of day 3 when it was our second game, and it was Vanderbilt's third game after winning. They may have beaten Arkansas in the first round, did they? Vandy beat Arkansas last year in the tournament?
Yeah, they beat somebody, and then they beat Arkansas in the second round for them.
Yeah, and then they upset Kentucky. So we were playing them in the semifinals. It was our second game, maybe their third game, and it certainly took a toll on Vandy's legs, I thought, and it was an advantage to us. So obviously getting the double bye is a huge advantage, and a team that's in that position obviously is going to be going to Atlanta with aspirations of getting in the field. So these last 2 weeks hold a lot of importance.
Or maybe that was Vandy's first game. I'm confused.
Yeah, that's right. I'll stay confused.
Next up is Jerry Tipton of the Lexington Herald-Leader.
Yeah, I think Vandy beat Kentucky in the first game.
Yeah, I think Vandy had won one to get to Kentucky because Kentucky had the double bye like us, and then so I think Bob's correct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm wondering, Florida has been in a number of close games and pulled out, every one of them in the league. I'm wondering what it is about them, or is that it seems like if you're in 3 or 4 minute games at the end of games, you're going to lose some of them.
Well, I think first and foremost, Billy is the coach of the year this year with what he has done with that team and how he has maximized really the pieces that are in place, and they're ultimately better collectively than they are individually, and that's no slight on them individually. But when you think about Florida, not one thing jumps out. You just think of the consummate team. And then they've got 4 seniors in their starting group and 4 guys that have been through a lot of winning, 4 guys that have been through a lot of close games, and they never panicked, they never rattled. They're one of the characteristics of a Billy Donovan coach team is that they're excellent with their passing. They always seem to find the open guy, and then they make it very, very difficult to score on you, so they don't give you anything easy. And then, in my opinion, they've got the player of the year on their team in Scotty Wilbekin. When you talk about most valuable player, it's hard to argue with what he's been able to do, to your point, Jerry, in that whether it be in Rupp or whether it be in Knoxville or whether it be in Oxford, a couple of days ago when they needed to make a play, he's made it time and time again.
And you spoke at the beginning about having to stop the bleeding, and it looked like you guys competed really well against Florida, and I'm wondering if was it something about your guys, or was it something about facing a team like Florida, a highly rated team, that kind of brought that out of your guys?
Well, we were excited about playing Kentucky, and the Tuesday prior, Kentucky played really well, knocked us on our heels, and we just could not catch up physically. We made a little run in the second half, you saw it, but we just weren't ever really a threat to win that game. The Florida game was different. We started off better. We stayed in the game. We had a lead, midway through the second half, and we had some untimely turnovers, and then again we put ourselves in position where their veteran leadership and their playmaking ability took over down the stretch, and that's what gave them the separation.
Question is from Perry Shalford of the Daily Journal.
Hey, Andy, I know you talk about taking each game as it presents itself, but is it difficult to do that in the midst of a losing streak? Is it harder to keep your guys from looking back when you want to, as you say, stop the bleeding?
Well, it's easy to look back and live in that world of woulda, coulda, shoulda. I try to make sure that we look at, you can see the finish line, and you got two weeks left in the regular season leading into Atlanta. We know we have 5 more games, and how we play in those 5 games will determine what happens next. But my hope is that we're just anxious to play again, because it has been 2 weeks since we've won a game, and it's not a good feeling. And I want our guys to share that sentiment and look forward to having the next opportunity.
Thanks.
Next is Cecil Hurd of the Tuscaloosa News.
Good morning, Coach. In the first game against Alabama, I think Trevor Releford had 16 of their last 18 points, hit the 3 down the end. Where does he rank among the guards in the league, and sort of how do you approach him for Wednesday?
I think he's a first-team All-League player. Obviously they've had their ups and downs, as we've all had, but if a few games would have gone the other way in Alabama's favor, I think he would be in the conversation for most valuable player in the league, simply because of what he means to their team. He's had a terrific career. He's been very, very steady, very consistent, and he's really improved, which is a credit to Anthony and his staff. He was a guy that's always been very good with the ball, fast in the open floor, but his ability to develop perimeter shooting and his ability to make perimeter shots has really made him a difficult cover.